It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
A strong, positive sense of self-esteem is your first step to anything you wish to accomplish. Yet too often when we attempt to leave our comfort zone, we have that chorus of inner critics inside our heads, the itty-bitty shitty committee, as I like to call mine, whispering self-sabotaging doubt and untrue trash talk in our ear. This podcast celebrates women who rise above and move beyond any self-doubt and old, outmoded, limiting beliefs. Women who have reconnected with who they truly are, that gorgeous, talented, fabulous gift to the world who deserves recognition and unconditional love. My hope is that their insights inspire all of you to do the same. You know, the most beautiful thing any woman can wear is confidence. Here on Confidence in Bloom with the Divas That Care Network, I, Tina Spolatini, speak with women now secure in their own self-confidence, so we can learn from their stories of how they found themselves and became the magnificent role models they are to us all now. Today, I'm talking with Liz Urbina. Dynamical professional engineer Liz Urbina was the perfect example of a high-achieving, successful businesswoman excelling in the petroleum industry for over 20 years in 3 different countries, making multi-million-dollar decisions. Her career was thriving. Sadly, her health was not. Coping with stress by living on caffeine, fast food, and her fortifying daily glass of wine, just like modern women everywhere, Liz was dealing with digestive issues, chronic adult acne, weight gain, and hormonal imbalances. Ultimately, unexplained infertility in her early 30s galvanized her into definitely taking control of her well-being. Now, as a certified nutrition coach and empowered eating expert, Liz is passionate about helping women discover a new and natural way to radiant overall health without the unnatural gimmicks of dieting. If you're feeling dragged down by digestive issues, lacking energy, and that true zest for life, working together with Liz will guide you to forget past failures and embrace her loving, positive approach to nurturing your body. Aligning with Liz Urbina, you really can have it all. Welcome, Liz. Oh, I am so excited to hear about this. So we're going to just talk about holidays because it is summertime and many of us are on vacation. Let's talk about our digestion first. I know that our conversation can go into hours of talking. We're going to try to limit it to 45 minutes if possible. So let me know, first off, what is the number one thing while on vacation that we need to focus on when it comes to food and our digestion?
Yay. Hi, Tina. Thanks so much for having me. I've been super excited and waiting for this conversation all summer long. So being on vacation, it's great. Everybody looks forward to breaking, their routines, eating all of the delicious things that are local, that are, specialties of the place. And for me, in Europe, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like in Italy, Italian food is super delicious. Like I haven't tried anything yet that I don't like, something that I don't like. And then I went to Portugal and same thing, like so many delicious things. But the number one thing that I've been learning, especially if your vacation, is a little longer than just 1 or 2 weeks, and even then, is paying close attention to your digestion and how your digestion starts changing as you change the usual foods that you consume. Like for me at home, like I have my routine of I start my day with a high fiber, high protein breakfast. And then I have usually like a smoothie for lunch or a big salad for lunch. That's like my go-to because it's easy, it's quick, and I can keep, doing my stuff. And then dinner is more like the family, the family kind of meal of the day. And so, and it's usually a little heavier in terms of having more like the protein, the carbs, and the veggies. But all of that routine change, and of course, I pay close attention to my hydration. So that would be like the second thing to talk about, and it's closely related to your digestion. So, but when being away, on vacation, first of all, again, you want to eat all of those things that you don't regularly eat that are super local, super like delicious from that place. And most of them, like for me, they do not have the amount of fiber I usually consume. They usually don't have the amount of varieties in vegetables that I usually like having at home. And it's more like, the flowers is more like, right, like in Italy, like I have to eat the pasta, I eat the pizza. It's so good. And even though I try my best to, load them, like ask for the versions of those that have the most fiber in terms of the sauce they make. And I also love a spicy food, so that the pepperoncino has to go in there. But still, it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. And the first thing I start noticing is the bloating coming up, and then constipation. And that constipation, and that is something that a lot of us do not realize. And that was me, some time ago. I didn't connect the dots between my constipation and my bloating and other symptoms I was having, including hormonal imbalances. And the thing is that, and think about it, when you're constipated, you're literally, it's like keeping the garbage in your home and not taking it out, often enough. Then stuff starts growing in there, smells start coming out that you don't usually necessarily enjoy in your home. So that's the kind of the same thing that is happening in our gut, right? In our digestive system. And we start recirculating toxins into our bloodstream. We start recirculating things that shouldn't be there because they should have gone out a time ago. And those toxins in your bloodstream go everywhere in your body. And so I start having things like headaches, joint pain in my knees, like pain in my knees, pain in my wrists. I start having things like acne breakouts that I didn't even have when I was in my teenage, stage. And that starts happening. And not just the breakouts, but also like rashes. My skin becomes more sensitive to not having even to have too much sun or too much wind in my face, things like that. To the water that I am using to wash my face even. And those things, we tend not to connect with our digestion. Things and other things like I'm in my perimenopause stage, so my periods, are still there, somewhat irregular. But I noticed that when I am constipated, my periods are become even more irregular and more painful. The pain comes back, more discomfort, more energy crashes during those days. And, again, nobody's telling us these things, right? So when on vacation, I closely pay attention. I started this time around, I packed some things that I knew I could take with me, like some seeds, like chia seeds or chia seeds, some people call them. They are packed with fiber. They are packed with protein, and they are so easy to incorporate in anything, like from salads to any breakfast. Like if I buy a yogurt and I put some fruits on, I can just throw in a couple of tablespoons of that, and I have that literally boosts the amount of fiber that I am consuming during the day so much that it keeps me regular. So
that's a great tip. So chia seeds, we know now, thanks to Liz, that we can bring that in our suitcases into Europe, right?
yes.
So I'm sure there's going to be some places where we can't, but that's something that we can look at the through the borders and the traveling websites. Now, when you say you carry that with you, how much do you use? Like, you must add that to your breakfast, like a spoon, 2, 3, 4. How much would you use for the average person?
Yeah, like for me, for everybody's different. We are all different. For me, I use 2 tablespoons to, again, and that guarantees me that I'm going to be regular no matter what I eat the rest of my day. If I have 2 tablespoons of that somewhere in my day, then I feel fine. Now, for some people, 2 tablespoons might be too much, especially if you're not used to having a lot of fiber. Like most of us, actually, only 30% of the population, of the world's population, but particularly in North America, consume the amount of fiber that we should be consuming. And so if you are, in that group of, in between that group of people, then 2 tablespoons might be a little bit too much for you. And that actually might cause other imbalances in your digestive systems, because it's not used to that amount. So
Right.
Starting smaller for you is not good for you. It's actually great if you get there, but start slower. Start perhaps with 1 teaspoon and work your way up until you feel, okay, this is feeling good. This is settling well with me.
Well, this is great information. Now, would you suggest, like, if someone doesn't, like, I don't use chia seeds, I don't, I probably am one of the 70% that doesn't get enough fiber. So how, if we wanted to start using the chia seeds, like, vacation, let's say, what would you say is a good idea?
Yeah, just following that starting point of starting with a 1 teaspoon per day. I would recommend you to either soak it for a little bit, like it can be in water, it can be in your favorite type of milk, it can be in yogurt. Like get it hydrated before consuming it. Or the other alternative is grinding it or blending it in with whatever, something. Like I even put it sometimes in my salad dressings. And it's a great way to, chia seeds, by the way, are packed with not just the fiber and the protein, but also with a type of fat that is super anti-inflammatory. That is like a magic compound in terms of reducing inflammation in the body. So you get so many benefits just from adding that just 1 simple ingredient to your daily nutrition. And the other thing I wanted to say is that, yes, I pack like a little packet of perhaps 200 grams of chia seeds, and they last a long time, but I still find, like in most grocery stores, I found my chia seeds somewhere. Like I've been traveling for almost 3 months now. And of course, the first pack I packed is gone long time ago. But I have been able to find it. So it's becoming more and more popular, and well known. People are becoming also more aware, more conscious, and trying to, take better care of themselves. And chia seeds have proven to be one of those simple things that you can incorporate that can make a huge difference.
I love that. Well, thank you for that, because I'm going to be traveling and I may just throw that in my suitcase.
Yay!
Yeah, and that's something that the whole family can enjoy, or I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but the whole family can benefit from that. Yeah.
100%, 100%. Like everybody, like my husband, my son, who's 21 years old, he's gonna be 21 years old. Oh my gosh. Yeah, crazy. He puts it in his, in his cereal. He throws it in like his shakes, and he enjoys it. And he was another person who used to be, have constipation issues, and he noticed it when he's not having them, how it's becoming, a little harder again. And he's like, and he got also skin problems, and the skin problems lessen up when he's regular. So he's like, okay, there's kind of a connection there. So, we become aware, and we feel the differences. And this is something that I tell a lot of my clients, that we are so good at adapting that we settle with not feeling good. It's like we forget what really feeling good feels like
That
until
is so true.
you start feeling good, and it's like, OMG, like, how was I living like this before, And so I really truly invite everybody, say, because we tend to also, we are living in this society that is normalizing so many symptoms, so many conditions, so many even behaviors that are not beneficial for us. But because a lot of people are doing it, then, oh, it's normal. That's fine. That's a way to go. And I'm like, wait, no. Like the other day, and I know I'm changing subjects here, and grab me, catch me, because I tend to talk too much.
It's all
But
good.
I was on the theaters the other day. My son actually invited me with his girlfriend to go to the movies, and that was actually a fun thing to do. And we're with our popcorn, and we're waiting, just watching all of the trailers, they put at the beginning, and also, all of the ads they throw in there. And a lot of them, I would say the majority of them, are of chips and candies and the new soda flavor and all of those things, right? And okay, fine. But then what just frustrated me was seeing next this ad saying of people, it was people just saying, I just asked my doctor. And then another couple, I just asked my doctor. And then another, like a young girl, I just asked my doctor. And then at the end, it said, just ask your doctor for Ozempic. And I'm like, thinking, okay, what is the message here? You are getting bombarded with all of these ads of all of these food-like products, let's say, that everybody knows can cause issues in your body, health issues beyond the weight, right? Way beyond the weight. And then you are being told it's okay. You can eat whatever you want, put anything you want to put in your mouth, and then just go ask your doctor for Ozempic. That was so frustrating for me. Like I was like, that was another moment when I was like, I have to keep doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely, right? Like that empowers you to do more of what you're doing. You're sending out that message that only you are in control of your health, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
I have an issue with all these commercials on TV, like, eat out, like eat the junk food, eat the fast food, eat the garbage, because your doctor has a solution after you're not feeling well, right? You take Ozempic, and we all know, we've all heard, Ozempic is causing more issues in our body than the junk food alone. So you add the two together, you're only creating more hazard and more disaster right into your little tiny beautiful body.
Exactly.
I mean, that actually is an hour's conversation on its own, and I know that you and I we both have great ideas on what we could talk about, but we won't go into that because that's not what we're here for. We want to know more about what you're doing to help the women. I'm assuming you help with mostly women.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
So
women.
yeah.
And is it more about beyond?
Is it more about menopause that you are like talking with these women about, or is it more just general gut health?
I talk about both because everything is connected, but I love talking with this group of women who are transitioning, who are starting feeling, all of these changes in her body, who probably are feeling frustrated because what they used to do in the past is probably not working anymore for them in terms of, healthy weight management, in terms of energy, in terms of even health, because they are probably going to his or her doctor. And now, her blood tests are coming back like, oh, now you're borderline, diabetic. Now your blood pressure is getting up there, and they are like, well, but that never happened to me before. This is like my body is definitely changing, and not just in the outside, it's also changing how it's responding to what I'm eating and what I'm doing, right? So, and I feel like, well, I started going through that process early in my life. Like I was actually the reason why I started diving into nutrition. I am actually an engineer by training, was an engineer for 22 years. And I was having a successful career, building a great young family, small family. Well, I only have one son, but then my health was suffering. And when I got to the point when I wanted to give my son a sibling, because I always dreamed of having 3 kids, and especially being far away from my original home, there's no family, extended family for me, any of that. I know you know how that feels. I wanted my son to not grow up alone. So, and I faced the harsh reality that that was not happening for me, and I was only 33 years old. I was diagnosed with unexplained infertility, and I know I was not born like that because I had another son before, right? Like I already had a child. So my body, something happened between the time when my son was born. I was 28 years old, very young, and I'm grateful today that that happened, because perhaps I wouldn't have been a mom then if that wouldn't have been the case. But something happened to my body between that time when he was born until I wanted to have another child. And that I love this definition of failure from one of my favorite mentors in the world. He says failure, and I know we manage failure, that concept, in different levels in when we start growing personally and all of that. But this concept, he says, is failure is just small errors in judgment repeated every single day. And, I find that so closely related to our health. Like, to give you an example, my son, he's 20 years old. He moved down to the basement. And when that happened, I was like, okay, there's no mom now every night reminding him, hey, brush your teeth before going to bed. So he chose not to brush her teeth every night. And that happened maybe for 6 months. And the next time he went to his dentist, for the first time ever in his life, he had cavities. And not one or two. He had 5 cavities in his teeth. And he had to go through the pain of, the cost that because his university insurance was not covering that. And he also had to go through the pain of the time. He had to go several times and do the treatments, and all of that. And on top of that, now his teeth are weaker because there is an irreparable damage down there. And this is what I feel it tends to happen to us. We tend to have this thought in our mind that, oh, that is not going to happen to me. It happens to other people, but it's not going to happen to me until it happens, right? And so for me, it was the infertility, going back in this circle. That was the one thing that made me stop and start considering, holy cow, the accumulation of the choices I have made in my life, the small errors in judgment that I have repeated over and over and over. There's a time when life just put in front of you like the bill, right? It passes the bill.
Yeah.
And literally, for the one thing I love and the one thing I find empowering from this, like, first of all, I am like out there saying, well, let's not wait until we get that bill. Let's not wait until we have an event that interrupts our lives, that stop us in our tracks, right? Like that, we can take proactive action. But what I find is that sometimes those small errors in judgment happen because we just don't know. We don't know what we don't know, right? So that's also the other part of my work, like transmitting this knowledge and this information on what is really healthy eating, And then the second part I see a lot, and it's so unfortunate, is like a lot of us choose not to learn, not to get the knowledge so that we don't have to change. And I get the creeps, I get like goosebumps in my body because like I feel like in this life we are all meant to grow and learn and become better. It's part of what we are here for, right? And in that way we become inspiration for others. We can help other people. And so not doing that is like not participating in that wave of positive growth and learning in this planet, in this world. So yeah, so I'm going sideways here. But...
Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I have a question though. So, I mean, clearly eating like foods that you have to prepare and you get to choose, whether it's at a supermarket or it's from your own garden, is much healthier. I mean, that's common knowledge, I think. What about for our listeners that really rely on, foods that are kind of already prepared for us, whether it be fast food or just regular restaurant food? If they want to sort of, transform their life into eating foods more that are done at home, where do you start?
Yes, I love
this because it's not easy. Like, it's easy to wake up one morning and say, I'm not eating out anymore. But the reality is it's easier. It's so much easier. It's more expensive, but you can manage that if you have the right, the right sources, the right resources to do that. So how do you coach your clients into, starting to cook at home?
Yeah, I love this question because one of my mottos and one of the things I repeat the most to my clients is perfection is not needed. And it's not about removing 100% things from your diet, or it's about making actually better choices. And there is like a continuum. There's always a way of getting better versions, even of the unhealthiest foods. there's always a better version, and you can start just moving into that. I draw this line and I say, well, let's put in one extreme, like the worst version of this food. Like, let's say, like, I don't know, one of those fast food restaurants, burgers. I'm not gonna say a name. Fast food restaurant burger with the fries, right? Of that oil that has been sitting in that fryer for months, right? So that's like the worst version. And then there's the like best version of it, which would be, making the burger at home, buying like the organic grass-fed raised beef and preparing it with your own, spices and vegetables, and even making your own bread, your bun, yourself, that's the other extreme. So do you have to go all the way to this side? The answer is not necessarily. Especially if you don't eat a burger every single day, right? You just want to have your burger once in a while, say even once a week, right? So how do you start moving from that extreme of the fast food restaurant burger into a better version, a small, just taking a tiny bit step? And there's always a better quality bread you can buy that I always, always, always tell people, it's not that bread is bad. Actually, wheat is one of the most nutritious grains that exist. It's for a reason that bread was one of the staple foods in most part of, especially Europe, right? Like bread was like the food for every single day for many, many, many years. The problem is that that original version of bread has been moved into a bread made with a wheat that has nothing to do with the wheat that was used to make that original bread, right? Like it's so refined, so processed, so stripped from the nutrients, and now had added additives and preservatives, plus all of the genetically modified, like there's so much going on. So the wheat that original bread was made of has nothing to do with the wheat that is used today to make, and the process to make our actual breads. But anywho, there's always a better version. You can go and find a bread that is made with whole grains, that it doesn't have sugar added, that you check the fiber and you see, well, it has at least 5 grams of fiber. Whereas you buy, most breads out there, they have 1 gram or 3 grams max of fiber, right? Like a bread that has more protein because they added some seeds in them, like pumpkin seeds or flax seeds or even chia seeds, and that added protein so it's more nutritious. So you're changing something and making it better. Even the beef, right? Like you don't necessarily have to go and prepare the patty yourself. There's frozen patties that are, grass-fed, that you can check, right? Like it's organic, that is like it's still a better version than that one that the burger, like the fast food restaurant is using. So what I'm trying to say is that there's always one step you can take to make it better. You can add more vegetables. And I love talking about adding instead of removing things, because it's so much easier to add more of the things that are good to you. And that is gonna just take care of you eating less of the foods that are not so good to you. So focusing on the adding, you're actually bringing your brain, which is another part of this, bringing your brain on your side. Your brain is going to be less resistant to adding things than to thinking, oh, I cannot eat this. This is a no-no, So it's going to bring this sense of abundance to your mindset and to your body, and the way you're going to process all of that actually also influences your metabolism. Your mindset influences the way your body uses the food that you're consuming. And all of that, all of that is connected. So long story short is taking small steps, one at a time, without necessarily going, all the way to the other spectrum, is all what it takes. And you can start moving into that line slowly. Okay, I added the better bread. Now I'm gonna try adding the better patty. Now I'm gonna try adding, and at the end, I'm gonna also, make my fries in the air fryer. I'm gonna use avocado oil, and that makes a huge difference. A huge
So
difference.
step by step, I really like that. And I wanted to comment on the adding instead of removing. So most of us, especially women, I find when we, go on a diet to lose weight, our body, our brain automatically goes, oh my God, that means I can't eat the foods that I love. But if we don't look at it in that way, like we're adding more vegetables, because I know for myself, I don't eat enough vegetables, but what also happens is we learn what we don't need, right? Like we realize that, well, if I eat this, I don't need the junk food as much, right? Because this fills me up more, I feel better, and it slowly sort of changes how we perceive what our diet really is, right? Because and I'm sure you can agree with me, diets, in the term of losing weight is a bad term, because diet really just means what we eat, right? Like I remember in school, what is the diet of this wild animal? And, we look at it, a diet, as it's something you do to lose weight, but really our diet is just what we eat, right? And we have to learn how to make that diet a benefit to us rather than making us have to go to the doctor and say, I need Ozempic, right?
Exactly. And actually, and I love that you're bringing up the term diet, because again, it's like menopause. It's like it has been given this negative, like automatically, like you said, automatically you hear diet and you're thinking, okay, weight loss, and you're thinking bland food, and you're thinking boring, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to stop eating all of the things. I'm eating less, and counting steps, counting whatever it is you want to count. And so my invitation is, and you're totally right, diet means just simply what you choose to eat, what you regularly eat. It doesn't matter if it's healthy or unhealthy. But the invitation that I make my clients and my people is, let's just think about our eating habits. Let's talk about eating habits instead of diet. Just let's improve our eating habits. Let's make them better for us. And what you said about how you start perceiving differently the foods that make you feel better is so transformative. That is actually the key to making long-lasting changes, as opposed to just restricting yourself from eating X, Y, and Z for this period of time, and then breaking up from that, and then being desperate to go and eat all of the things that you were not allowed to eat before, right? Like when you start actually enjoying the foods that are beneficial for you, like it becomes part of you. It becomes like your preferred choice. Like the other day, I was eating out. I love eating out. I love trying new foods and getting ideas, and because then I can come home and I can, incorporate those flavors and those spices. Like I'm bringing a bunch of pepperoncino to my home. But anywho, I was with some girlfriends, and there was this salad with it was like a base of grains with some seeds and stuff, but they put on top like it was a cauliflower, like a grilled cauliflower with grilled lettuce. And I'm like, I cannot imagine grilled lettuce. And like, it was like a kind of weird combination. And so I ordered that because it just sparkled my curiosity so much. And it was not the cheapest plate. It was like similar in price to, having a steak with mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, I want to try this. The plate was massive. It was like the largest salad I have been put in front of me, like by far. It had so much color. Like, one of the things I always tell my clients is one easy way you can like boost your nutrition, the way that the nutrition value of what you're eating without necessarily adding calories is adding color to your plates. The more color, the more nutritious, period. And so there was so much color in this plate. The cauliflower, the grilled cauliflower and the grilled lettuce on top gave it like this crunchiness, this texture change. And on top of that, they had this dressing. It was a creamy dressing. It was so good. Like, I think it's been one of the best salad. It was like a whole meal. And one of my girlfriends, I was eating it and enjoying it so much. And one of my girlfriends, she told me, wow, Liz, I really admire you because I can see you're actually enjoying that salad. And I feel like if I go out and I order a salad, I am throwing away my money. I am not, I'm not going to enjoy myself. And I was like, wow, that was so eye-opener to me. So the difference was like, I am in that place where I enjoy eating, the foods that are good for me. I enjoy my salads. I enjoy seeing colors in my plate. I enjoy, and everybody can get there. And it doesn't have to be just with salads. There's so many ways we can incorporate vegetables and color into our dishes, not necessarily being salads,
Right.
But she was like I felt this that she really wanted to get there too, she had the desire to be able to enjoy a meal like that and feel good about it. And I told her, you know what, you can. It is absolutely possible. So that's kind of the things that happen in our brain when we start, in this journey, and we start perceiving differently the foods that we eat and what we call diet.
Right. And I like how you said that, how we perceive them, because, we kind of tend to go with what we know. Right. And so, when you hear, let's try this, you think, I don't know. Right away, it's the perception of what that meal might not do for me. Right. I might not feel satisfied if I try that. But when you saw that, you were curious to see how it would look, number one, and how it's going to like fill me, in all aspects, not just my belly, right? But, that whole flavorful, the love of food, right? Because let's face it, life revolves around food, right? And I mean, as an Italian, right? Italians show love through food, right? And so it's an important part of our life, and we need to enjoy it. If we're eating and not enjoying our food, then something's missing from our life, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So I want to know, Liz, how is your coaching different from any other nutrition coaching?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So the first thing is just what I said about helping women start thinking about abundance instead of restriction, instead of stop eating this, instead of having this scarcity mindset. I shift that into, you can eat. You don't have to starve yourself. If you're hungry, go eat. You don't have to, there's so many diets out there or programs that that tell you, well, you can just eat this, and that, and you can eat just between this time and this time, and no snacks between this time and this time. And I feel like that is so unnatural even. Like, if we think about our ancestors, they ate, well, when there was food available to them, and when they felt like eating. Like, there was no, right? Like, the nature served as a guide on, okay, when it's time to eat and do things, and when it's time to go to bed, right? And all of those things are being so distorted now with all of these different diets and things that I'm like, we are overcomplicating it. That is not necessary. So I talk about simplicity, making things simpler. Not, there's so many programs I see out there that tells you, well, yes, you have to eat this, and that, not eat this, and that, and then also take, this protein powder, take these supplements, like a bunch of them. And I'm like, well, we start from the foundation, and the foundation is simple, whole foods. Making those versions, like one of the first things I ask my clients when they join one of my programs is, what are your favorite foods? And when they tell me that, I give you ideas on how to start transforming those favorite foods into healthier versions, into versions that are going to be better for your body. And they get surprised on, oh my gosh, how good this does this. Like, I had never had brownies so good that didn't have any flour or sugar on them. OMG, like, they get so blown away by how you can start creating those versions of those foods that you love so that you don't feel you're missing out. And the other thing that I feel it really sets me apart in my coaching is that I'm not going to tell you, you do this and then go and cook or buy food for the rest of the family because you are the one doing the program, you are the one on the diet. Then no, I'm going to invite you to bring your family on board, because this is not restrictive eating. It's just incorporating healthier whole versions of foods, like things more closer to how nature produces them. And that is beneficial for everybody, not just for you. And one of the things that most of my clients become, surprised about is how their families, including the picky eaters, end up like, whoa, this is actually good. Oh, this is actually, not too bad. And especially when there are small kids, bringing them into the process of going to grocery shopping, get them pick the apples, get them pick, kids are attracted to colors. And the colors in the fruits and vegetables are better than the colors in a Fruit Loop box. Right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
instead of bringing them to that aisle, bring them to the produce aisle. Then bring that produce home. Get them to wash the produce with you together. Have fun with it. Yes, there's going to be some splashes here and there, but who cares? One of the most rewarding experiences I have had, my son was maybe 10 years old. He came back from school and he told with a box of donuts. And he told me, Mom, I was given this at school, but I couldn't eat it. It's too sweet, Mom. It was gonna give me an ache in my tummy. I don't want that. And you taught me not to throw food away, so I brought it. I didn't want to throw it away, so I don't know what to do with it. That's just made me, oh my gosh, I am doing a good job. It is so possible to teach kids at an early age what eating good is and what feeling good is about the foods without necessarily talking about, diets or anything like that. It's a natural way of incorporating those concepts into them and getting their taste buds and their brain to start appreciating sweetness, the natural sweetness that we lost every time we go, and buy those things that are super excessively sweet, right? And that happens to everybody, not just the kids, by the way. That happens to all of us.
Yeah. And I mean, we all know every culture has sweets, right? And I know, like in the Italian culture, their sweets are not super sweet, right? If you have a Canadian, here in Canada, we have donuts, compared to an Italian cookie, they're not the same. Like their sweetness is not the same. But I mean, if you really, really want sweet and you don't want to eat something that's processed like a cookie, have a fruit, because that will satisfy that sweet urge, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like that those three things are the ones that separate me, the style of coaching that I teach and provide to my clients. And it's actually one of the keys to the amazing transformations I've seen, not just in the women that have worked with me, but in their families. Like the ripple effect in their families has been amazing.
And well, that would happen, right? Because I mean, I'm not too far off most women. I do most of the cooking in my house. And if I have to cook a different meal for every person in my house, I'm not cooking. I don't enjoy cooking that much, right? If I got to cook 5 meals, sorry, I'm out, right? Either you eat what I cook or you're on your own, right? That's how I feel. Now, I know most Italian moms are different, but that's on them, right? If they want to do that, please, by all means. I mean, I would never say, you're crazy or, you shouldn't do that. If that's what makes you happy and fills your boat, by all means, do it. But the reality is, when you're eating real whole foods, the entire family can enjoy that. I mean, we all have allergies. We all have, sensitivities that, maybe this doesn't work or that doesn't work, but there's other options, right? Whereas when you're always eating in restaurants and prepared food, you're kind of stuck with the ingredients that are there. So exactly. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So tell me, the women that you're working with at the end of your program, or the end when you're done working with a client, what does your client walk away with?
Oh, they walk away with, like, the main thing I feel, and it fills my heart, honestly, is seeing them walking away confident in themselves, confident and feeling free around food. Like there's no longer this anxiety around, I cannot eat this, or I cannot eat that, or I'm eating too much, or I'm eating too little. Like they know exactly what is good for them and what is not. And they know exactly how to move in that continuum, right? They know that perfection is not needed. And all of that gives them, empower them to make better, consistent choices. which gives them all of the results, like results from energy. Like I have had clients who told me, Liz, no matter how much I slept, I was always tired. I felt always tired. Or clients that told me, Liz, I hit 2 p.m. in the afternoon and I have this like crush, like I cannot get myself to sit up and do the things that like I have to do in front of my computer or wherever I have to go, because I'm like done for the day at 2 p.m. I need to take a nap. Or just those kind of things in energy just go away like magically. And it's no magic, right? We all know it's not magic. The weight, one of the things that I have had happen, and it's like so rewarding for me to see, and seeing other women experiencing, especially when they have tried all of the diets, when they have, struggled for so long trying to release extra weight, is seeing them naturally shedding effortlessly, what it feels effortlessly, and actually calling me because, Liz, I keep releasing weight. Is this a good thing? Like I hit my target and I'm still releasing weight. Like I had a client in her, she's I think like 65 years old. She has 3 kids. And she told me, Liz, she called me like in crisis, telling me, Liz, I am getting to the size I had before having my first child. And she was terrified at first. And I told her, okay, are you eating? Yes. Are you feeling hungry any time of the day? No, I feel very satisfied. Okay, are you moving? Are you, doing some kind of movement during your, yes, I walk every day. I do some yoga. Okay, perfect. Are you sleeping? Like I checked all of the other things, right? Do you feel anything else? No, I feel great. I have a great, don't worry. That's your body naturally getting to where it should be. It will stop. It will get to where it needs to be. And then it will stop and you will feel great in there. It will move up or down, a couple of pounds, depending on everything that's going on in your life, but it's going to stay there. And that's what happened. And she was so happy, and I've seen this happening over and over and over. And it's something that helps women see that they are not doomed, that it's not because we are in perimenopause or in menopause or our metabolism just slowed down, that, okay, we now have to learn how to live in this body that I don't like, that I don't feel comfortable in. So it's just the change in that outlook and the hope that it brings. And that just changes everything in their lives. I had one client telling me, my husband, and she's like almost 60, in a marriage that has been, like I've been married for 24 years. I know they have their ups and downs, and not everything is, roses all the time. She told me, my husband gifted me a green dress he saw on a store, and he brought it home super excited, and he said, I brought you this dress that I know is gonna fit super nice on you now, and we're gonna go out for dinner.
Oh.
And she was like, okay, what is happening here?
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
And that just is not about that she lost the weight. It's not about that. It's how she was feeling, right? Like she was feeling confident in herself again. She was feeling sexy in her body again. And that
And
just goes out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I love that.
Things like that is like, that just goes beyond, beyond the just simply, shedding whatever number of pounds you want to shed. Or again, it's like your quality of life. And of course, the third thing is your health, right? Like my focus is always in your health, in how you feel today, and the body that you want to design and build for your future self. Like, so like a 90% of the chronic diseases that our society is plagued with today are preventable. That's the reality. And are 90% related to our lifestyle. And a lot of that, like 80% of that, is what we eat. And so I am like, if I tell you, and that is why I dove into the nutrition science and what really is, because a lot of the diets I find are focused on the weight loss, and weight loss doesn't necessarily mean health. You know, you can shed all of the weight. Actually, I had one client, she had been on this other program, I'm not gonna say the name. She was in this program and she was shedding all of the weight she wanted to shed, but then she was diagnosed with cancer. And I'm like, well, you know, this diet you're on, yes, is helping you to release the weight, but it's not supportive for your healthy body. It's actually promoting those things, inflammation in your body, and that is a result of inflammation. So all of my coaching, all of my nutrition coaching goes towards removing inflammation, helping your body release all of the things that it doesn't need. And that is not just the weight. That is toxins, that is, free radicals that you have accumulated in your body. That is like so many things. And when that happens, your body's happy. And it kind of start bringing, all of the balance, all of your hormones come back to where they should be. Your weight starts naturally coming back to where it should be. Like, it's like putting all of the places together. And then you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, taking medications. Oh my gosh, and my next visit to the doctor. My mental health is going to decline. None of that. Like, you are literally building the foundations of a healthy, strong aging process.
And the thing is, the only person responsible for that is you, right? You can rely on the medical system, you can rely on your friends and your family, but at the end of the day, whatever goes in your mouth is your decision, right? Yeah. That's so exactly true. I absolutely love this conversation. Like, there's so much to learn because, like you said, it's not about the weight, right? It's not about one thing. Health is it's the basic foundation of everything. But it all, like that man that bought his wife the dress, he wanted to celebrate with her how she was feeling. Like, yeah, she lost weight, but she didn't do all of this to lose the weight. She's now full of energy. Her mind is clear. She's more of a clear thinker. She's making more sense when she's talking, right? What's the word? Her healthy feelings of everything in life are just like protruding out of her into the world, and she deserves to celebrate that, right? And so does everyone else.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? One of the things is our mood, right? Like, sometimes we can really be like the bit, right? Like, react to everything, take everything personally, and that just separate us. Let's be really honest, separate us from the people we love the most when we are so reactive and so moody, or nobody knows how is she now? Is she, is she gonna yell at me, or is she gonna be loving? So not a lot of people know, not a lot of women know that your gut, your digestion is directly connected to your brain, and it has to do a lot on how you feel, on your mood, and how you're thinking. You just said it. So just imagine being that woman who's now more resilient in terms of, okay, whatever is happening outside, you have like more capacity to handle it and not just, start pulling their hair out of your head and yelling at everybody. So just being that, imagine how would that affect your relationship with your husband, with your partner, with your kids, right? It's gonna make everybody, you're gonna be more approachable. So all of those things are just, side effects of just prioritizing and becoming more conscious of what you put in your mouth. Yes.
Yeah, I have to agree. Well, I would love to talk for the rest of the day. I really would, because I think there's so much to learn from you. But unfortunately, we can't. Let's give our listeners maybe one, not necessarily advice, but a point that you would like to make for them to hear about getting control of their life.
I love that. I'd love to talk about self-love, because I feel like there's a lot of talk, it's a common theme these days. And there's this point of body image, right? We have to love ourselves, whatever our size. And I love all of that. I am 100% on board on your value has nothing to do with your size, with how you look. That is an absolutely 100% no for me. However, I feel like that is being confused with having an excuse for not taking good care of yourself, of your health, because I am valuable at any size, then I can be this big and everybody has to love me and I don't have to do anything to change that. And I am not supportive of that. I am supportive of true self-love, and true self-love means also eating like you love yourself. And that is not just, falling for all of your cravings, right? Everybody have cravings. I have cravings too. But I may fall for them from time to time, but most of the time I think, okay, yes, I'm gonna fall for this, but I'm gonna feel terrible after. So you know what? Just having that strength and saying no more often than not makes me feel better. And I feel like I'm loving myself more that way. So that is the question I want to leave for your audience here is, are you really, truly eating like you love yourself? And and start considering that beyond the weight, beyond all of that is, are you loving yourself when you choose what you put at the end of your fork?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that, because that is huge. That is absolutely huge, right? Nobody else has to love me no matter what, right? But I have to love myself no matter what, right? But I have to know that I'm doing everything I can to really love myself. Oh, Liz, thank you so much for that. That was perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Tina. I really loved this conversation.
Me too.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.